So Babangida said, oh, the 1966 coup, January 15th, was not an Igbo coup. And many of you are excited, saying, oh, finally the truth is out. For the same Babangida. Oh, dear Father. It's like you have forgotten who Babangida is. They call him the Maradona of Nigeria. The evil genius. You think they call him that for play? It's for a reason. The question you should ask is this. Is Babangida just knowing now that that coup is not an Igbo coup? Is he just knowing now in 2025? Or did he know way back in 1966? Where was Babangida during the 1966 July coup? Where was he? When the soldiers of the North came up with this mindset that the January 15th coup was an Igbo coup, and then they engaged in a counter-coup that was an onslaught on the Igbos in Nigeria. Where was Babangida? Babangida was stationed in Abeokuta. So the question you will ask is, what happened in Abeokuta? Since Babangida is coming out to tell us now that, oh, the January 15th coup is not an Igbo coup, what was his action, or what were his actions in July of 1966? Where was Babangida? I already said he was stationed at Abeokuta. He was stationed in Abeokuta, and together with two other lieutenants, you had Lieutenant Sani Bello, who later rose to become the governor of Kaduna, military governor of Kano State. You had himself, Ibrahim Babangida, then a lieutenant, who later rose to become a head of state. Then you had Lieutenant Garba Duba. These were northern soldiers that were stationed in Abeokuta. What happened to them? They mutineered. They decided to disregard the military hierarchy. And guess what? The Igbo officers that were in charge of the Abeokuta garrison, is it garrison or a battalion? But definitely was not a brigade. Okay, at that time we had 5 brigades. There was the Enugu brigade, there was the 2nd brigade, the 1st brigade, the 3rd brigade, the 5th brigade. So there were about 5 brigades at that time. Some were just made up of battalions. Now, I don't know, there was a brigade at Abeokuta, there was one in Lagos, or the two of them were merged. Then there was a brigade at Ibadan. Then there was one in Enugu. Then there was one in Kaduna. And there was one in Kano. I think there were 5 brigades then. I'm not so sure of the names now. In Abeokuta, Babangida was one of the 3 northern soldiers that mutineered and eliminated Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Okonweze. Babangida. In fact, during this 1966 counter-coup, several Igbo officers were targeted and killed across different locations, including Abeokuta. While much of the documented killings happened in places like Lagos, Ibadan, and Kaduna, Abeokuta also witnessed the assassination of some Igbo officers. Notable among them were number 1, Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Okonweze. He was the commander of the 2nd Battalion in Abeokuta and was reportedly assassinated by the mutineers, including Babangida. Another notable officer that was killed in Abeokuta was 2nd Lieutenant Eze, a junior Igbo officer who was murdered during the counter-coup at Abeokuta. The northern soldiers in Abeokuta, led by officers like Lieutenant Sani Bello, Lieutenant Ibrahim Babangida, and Lieutenant Garba Duba, mutineered against their Igbo superiors. The counter-coupists executed Igbo officers to exact revenge for the January 1966 coup, in which key northern leaders had been assassinated. Similar executions of Igbo officers happened in other military formations across Nigeria, particularly in Ibadan, Lagos, and Kaduna. So if Babangida is coming out to tell Nigerians now that, oh, the 1966 coup, the January one, was not an Igbo coup, why did he take part in the mutineers that exacted revenge on Igbo superior officers? Why? You know, it is easy for people now to just come and attempt to pull wool over the eyes of Nigerians. Babangida, in that his book launch or in that his fundraiser for his so-called presidential library, confessed to a crime. Not just the annulment of the June 12 presidential elections. No. Even before then, he was part of the mutineers that eliminated Igbo superior officers. At the time he was doing that, they believed that it was an Igbo coup. Now he's coming to tell us that, oh no, it's not an Igbo coup. Who is Babangida trying to fool? And why are you people falling for his lies? Don't let Babangida fool you. He is a serial coupist. Serial coupist. And his confession should earn him nothing but jail time for the rest of his remaining short life. Not accolades. Not accolades from Nigerians. No. He has done a lot of disservice. Yes, you can say, oh, there are 1 or 2 or 3 good things that he did. But when somebody does 3 good things and does 1,000 bad things, what are those good things? His bad things overwhelm and overshadows the good things. So please, let's stop giving relevance and validation to Ibrahim Babangida. No. It doesn't matter whether it was an Igbo coup or whether it's not. That is in the past. We all know what the truth of the matter was, that it was a mixture of soldiers, although predominantly led by Igbos. Yes, Emmanuel Ifeajuna was reported to be, and if you look at the key people, look at it. The people who led the killings in Ibadan, in Lagos, in Kaduna, the people who led the killings were Igbos in the January 15, 1966 coup. And that is why the general notion was that it was an Igbo coup. If you look at all of the names, Nwobosi was in Ibadan, then you have the likes of, across the different parts. So please, let's stop giving validations to Babangida. One lesson that we must learn from this whole Babangida saga and this book launcher of a thing is that the elites in Nigeria, they have still not learned that the colonialists are still using them. They have still not learned that in the eyes of the colonialists, they are nothing but fools. They are traitors who sell their people for their private pockets. They still don't realize that that is how they are seen. But it's up to us. What do we do? Because all of the complaining and the crying and the weeping and the wailing will change nothing. Unless we, the people, come together and organize and use strategy instead of emotions, they will continue to do us dirty. So what's the way forward? Abundance Party. We need to start from there. Click the link to join us.